Most players think all slot machines work the same. They don't. Some machines are built to drain you fast. Others are designed to keep you playing longer. And a few are quietly tuned in ways casinos never advertise. Former casino employees have been leaking information about which games behave differently, and what they reveal changes the way you should walk the floor forever. These aren't the loud machines up front. They're not the giant flashing progressives. They're the game's experienced staff actually respect. If you play smart, you don't need luck. You need location. You need selection. And you need to understand how the games really work. Today, you're going to see machines most players ignore, but insiders know exactly why they matter. Machine number 1, Golden Goddess. Golden Goddess doesn't announce itself as the best machine on the floor. It doesn't need to. While other slots shout about jackpots and scatter their money into flashy features, this one quietly builds something far more valuable: balance. Former casino technicians consistently describe Golden Goddess as a machine engineered for longevity rather than spectacle. It was built to keep players in the game, not break them quickly. According to multiple insiders, Golden Goddess typically runs between 94 and 96% RTP, depending on denomination and casino configuration. That alone places it in the top tier of modern video slots. But numbers don't tell the whole story. This machine doesn't feel tight. It doesn't punish small budgets. It lets the balance breathe. The driving mechanic is the super stack system. Before every spin, one symbol is selected and expanded across reels. This creates burst moments in base play that most machines reserve only for bonus rounds. When premium symbols or wilds become stacked, wins jump into 50 to 150 times your bet range without needing a separate trigger. The free spin bonus activates when scatter symbols land in a square formation. While the layout appears unusual, the math beneath it favors frequency. Former technicians say the bonus appears roughly once every 90 to 120 spins. In a casino environment, that is generous for a feature capable of serious returns. During free spins, the super stack system continues operating without restriction. Prize levels inside the bonus often reach 80 to 300 times the wager when combinations align well. What separates Golden Goddess from competitors is the balance across all levels. Small hits, mid payouts, and occasional heavy strikes form a controlled pattern rather than chaos. Casino staff also emphasize volatility balance. Golden Goddess is not flat. It is not wild. It sits between. And that middle zone is where bankrolls survive. Then there's reliability. Maintenance teams quietly favor this machine because it crashes less frequently than complex video systems. No overheating displays. No lockups mid-spin. That doesn't sound exciting, but when you're running well, nothing is worse than interruption. Stability matters. A former slot manager documented a long-term regular who played Golden Goddess twice weekly on a strict $100 budget. Over a full year, her total loss came in under $400. That doesn't happen randomly. That happens when design and behavior align. There's also a loyalty effect. Players return to Golden Goddess not because it promises magic, but because it permits comfort. Casino managers have noted it holds one of the highest time-on-device scores among IGT products. Finally, betting flexibility makes this machine perfect for tight bankrolls. With spins commonly starting around 50 cents, a $100 budget gives you approximately 200 chances to meet the rhythm. Enough time to see the bonuses. Enough exposure to feel the cycle. Golden Goddess isn't aggressive. It doesn't demand. It rewards control. And that is exactly why casinos quietly wish players would stop finding it. Machine number 2, Carnival of Mystery. Carnival of Mystery is rarely the machine players rush toward. It sits quietly, often away from main walkways, without drawing attention through oversized displays or animated branding. And according to former casino employees, that's exactly one of the reasons it remains a strong option for smaller bankrolls. This machine doesn't rely on illusion or hype. It survives on simple value and quiet consistency. Former slot managers estimate Carnival of Mystery usually operates between 92 and 94% RTP, depending on how the casino configures it. That figure places it comfortably above many newer video slots that sacrifice fairness for spectacle. But return percentage alone doesn't explain its reputation among casino staff. The real strength of this machine comes from how its bonus system distributes reward. The main feature is the wheel bonus, which activates when 3 or more special symbols appear. The wheel may award credits, free spins, or multipliers. Former technicians state that the bonus tends to trigger once every 80 to 100 spins, which is frequent enough to feel realistic rather than theoretical. And the key detail employees continuously emphasize is this: the wheel never lands on nothing. Every bonus gives you a return of some kind. For budget players, that psychological element is enormous. Being rewarded every single time a bonus begins creates momentum that prevents tilt. You don't leave disappointed after a feature. You always walk away with something. And that alone is rare enough to make this machine memorable. Beyond the wheel, Carnival of Mystery includes a mystery symbol feature that randomly transforms multiple symbols into matching ones. Former attendants observed this occurring roughly every 30 to 40 spins. Not always massive wins, but enough to keep the balance from collapsing. The machine fills the gaps between bonuses with activity instead of silence. One former pit supervisor shared an internal report involving a regular player who entered every Friday with exactly $50 and played minimum bet, usually close to 50 cents per spin. Over multiple months, his playtime averaged 2 to 3 hours. About 1 out of every 4 visits ended in profit. And even when he lost, the losses remained slow and controlled rather than sudden. Another advantage staff mention is its old-school build simplicity. Carnival of Mystery does not rely on licensed themes or external royalties. That often means more revenue stays within the base game rather than feeding branding costs. According to ex-managers, machines like this frequently receive slightly stronger payout configurations than big-name titles. Former workers also noticed something interesting in practice. The mystery feature appeared more often in sessions immediately following a wheel bonus. While they caution this may involve human pattern recognition rather than real programming behavior, the consistency of observations among multiple staff members makes it noteworthy. Placement plays a role too. Carnival of Mystery is often installed away from crowded entrances. In low-traffic locations, casino operators sometimes loosen settings to attract activity. That means the game may quietly offer better value in the very corners players rarely visit. Carnival of Mystery doesn't punish exploration. It rewards patience. And for players who care more about session length than jackpot dreams, it delivers something casinos would rather you ignore: reliability. Machine number 3, Quick Hit Explosion. Quick Hit Explosion is the type of machine seasoned players recognize immediately. It doesn't rely on trendy themes or flashy animations. It feels old school in its layout and familiar in its symbols, and that is exactly why casino veterans respect it. While newer games bury their odds beneath layers of bonus features and visual noise, this one shows its math right on the screen. Former slot technicians say Quick Hit Explosion generally operates between 92 and 94% RTP, depending on denomination and casino policy. That makes it competitive even before considering how the game behaves during play. But longtime casino workers agree that Quick Hit Explosion's real value lies not just in the numbers, but in transparency. The core mechanic revolves around the quick hit symbols themselves. Every time one appears, it carries real meaning. Landing 3 can bring modest wins, while filling the screen with them can create serious payouts without requiring any separate bonus feature. This direct design eliminates the frustration of needing a special trigger just to access value. One of the strongest advantages of this machine for budget players is hit frequency. According to ex-attendants, the game produces small wins regularly enough to prevent extended dry spells. You are rarely watching spin after spin do absolutely nothing, and that preservation of balance is crucial for short stacks. Although Quick Hit Explosion does offer a free spin bonus, experienced staff remind players not to depend on it. The bonus is simply an enhancement, not the foundation of the machine's value. The base game alone can carry a session. Former floor supervisors also noticed something important. Quick Hit Explosion attracts a loyal older audience, players who remember the original versions from years ago. And games with that kind of following are rarely configured harshly. Casinos avoid tightening machines known for loyal customer bases. If anything, they maintain consistent settings to keep those players returning. The game also allows a wide range of betting denominations, from pennies to higher values. Former employees strongly advise choosing the lowest possible denomination that feels engaging. Increasing denomination does not improve odds, it only increases risk. The math remains unchanged regardless of bet size. Another strength lies in psychology. Quick Hit Explosion never hides its intent. Wins are earned in the open, visible and traceable. There are no deceptive bonus lights or confusing mechanics designed to simulate success when none exists. What you see is what you get. According to maintenance records, Quick Hit Explosion is also among the more reliable machines mechanically. It locks up less often, requires fewer resets, and delivers consistent operation. While that might sound trivial, former workers note that uninterrupted play enhances emotional momentum. Nothing kills a good run like a screen freeze. Many ex-employees describe Quick Hit Explosion as a bridge between generations of slot design, old enough to remain honest, modern enough to remain engaging. That combination is extremely rare on modern floors. Quick Hit Explosion does not overwhelm. It does not deceive. It simply spins. And sometimes, that's exactly what players need. Machine number 4, Winning Animals. Winning Animals is not the type of machine that draws attention from across the casino floor. It doesn't advertise massive prizes, and it doesn't surround itself with flashy visuals trying to sell you a fantasy. Instead, it quietly builds something more valuable for players on a limited budget: opportunity through repetition. Former casino employees often describe this machine as one of the most consistent value performers still operating in many properties. According to insiders who handled its configurations, Winning Animals typically runs between 93 and 95% RTP, depending on the casino and version. But the reputation of this machine isn't built on the number alone. It's built on how the free spin system works in practice. Unlike most slots that depend on one rare event, Winning Animals allows bonuses to stack and retrigger naturally. Landing 3 scatter symbols usually starts with 8 to 12 free spins. But during those spins, scatter symbols continue appearing often enough that players frequently add more rounds to the feature. This creates extended bonus sessions that can reach 20 or even 30 spins without needing a perfect setup. Former attendants say these long free spin chains regularly produce payouts between 60 and 200 times the wager, even when playing at minimum bets. And this isn't fantasy, it's behavior observed on live floors. In the base game, Winning Animals continues to behave differently. Experts estimate it pays something back on roughly 30% of spins, meaning your balance rarely feels stagnant. Instead of watching credit after credit sink into silence, players experience constant movement. Another advantage is visual neutrality. The game design is soft. No aggressive sound effects. No manipulative flashing. That makes it emotionally easier to keep control. When people don't feel attacked by the machine, they're more likely to stay within their strategy. Insiders also mention something ironic: Winning Animals is often ignored because it lacks branding. That actually protects players. Casinos rely heavily on licensed games to drive volume, but machines without marketing hype are often configured more generously because they must compete on behavior rather than name value. Experienced players often use a strategic progression method here. Start at minimum bet. If the first extended bonus performs well, increase slightly, never before. If not, return to entry-level play and wait for the next opportunity. Winning Animals respects patience more than aggression. Many versions exist: farm animals, jungle animals, aquatic versions, yet former technicians confirm the math beneath them is almost identical. Choosing based on theme makes no difference. Choosing based on comfort does. Winning Animals isn't dramatic. It doesn't promise miracles. It builds. And for players who value endurance, that matters more than spectacle. Machine number 5, Liberty Jewels. Most players walk past Liberty Jewels without giving it a second look. It doesn't scream for attention. There's no oversized screen, no celebrity theme, no flashing jackpots trying to pull you in. And according to former casino workers, that's exactly why this machine becomes valuable for players who don't want to burn money fast. Floor employees often refer to Liberty Jewels as a locals machine. A game that has survived on casino floors long after its installation costs have been recovered. And when a slot stays in one place for that long, it's usually because it continues to attract steady play without chasing players away. Casinos don't keep machines that anger customers for years. They quietly replace those. Liberty Jewels stayed. Insiders estimate that Liberty Jewels typically runs between 93% and 95% RTP, depending on the casino and configuration. That may not sound huge, but when you compare it to many modern video slots operating far below that, it places this game in a much safer range for low-budget players trying to stretch gameplay time. The game design is refreshingly simple. Straight pay lines. No hidden bonus ladders. No stack mechanics you have to decode. No confusing risk features that drain your bank while you're distracted. Everything here is easy to understand, and most importantly, easy to track. Liberty Jewels offers a basic free spin bonus that tends to activate roughly once every 120 spins. You're not waiting hours just to see one feature. And when it triggers, it doesn't insult you with flashy nonsense. You get 10 free spins with a 2x multiplier. No complicated pick screens. No misleading minigames. Just math. Former employees say this machine is built with medium volatility, which means you'll see frequent small wins rather than extreme swings. Instead of your bankroll collapsing in giant drops, it slowly rises and falls in a controllable way. This is exactly the behavior budget players want. Frequent crowd control wins keep you alive long enough to reach bonus rounds. Casino attendants have watched players sit on Liberty Jewels for 3 or even 4 hours on a single $100 budget and still leave with money left. That's rare in modern casinos. Most newer slots are designed to empty you quickly and push you toward ATM visits. Liberty Jewels doesn't behave that way. Another reason this machine works well is flexibility. You can control both bet size and payline count. Former regulars recommend playing around 40 to 60 cents per spin, which gives you close to 200 spins on a $100 bankroll. More spins means more chances at bonus rounds, and more chances to level your balance upward. One documented regular reportedly played Liberty Jewels twice per week for over a year using minimum bets. His total annual losses stayed under $500, an incredibly low number for someone playing that often. Most slot players lose that in a single weekend. Experienced casino staff say Liberty Jewels represents a dying breed, a machine engineered to entertain first and extract slowly, not instantly. It doesn't promise miracles. It just doesn't punish players for existing. And that's why former technicians consistently point to Liberty Jewels as a smart starting point for players who want time, control, and actual value, not just flashing lights and fast regret. Machine number 6, Blazing Sevens. Blazing Sevens comes from a period when slot machines were designed to function first and entertain second. Before massive video screens, before layered bonus ladders, before visual overload became the standard, games like this ruled casino floors. And former casino employees will tell you the same thing, that era produced machines that behaved very differently from what you see today. Blazing Sevens is built on direct action. The reels move, the symbols line up, and the result is immediate. Nothing is hidden, nothing is buried beneath several layers of illusion. According to technicians who spent years servicing casino floors, Blazing Sevens normally operate somewhere between 93 and 96% RTP, depending on the specific casino configuration. That places it in a category most modern slots rarely reach. And while a few games still technically match those numbers on paper, Blazing Sevens stands out because it actually feels that way when you play. The balance doesn't vanish in violent drops. Instead, it breathes. It fluctuates. Blazing sevens relies entirely on symbol mathematics. Red sevens, blue sevens, single bars, double bars, each combination has a fixed value. There is no mystery meter filling up somewhere in the background. There are no fake build-ups designed to mimic progress. You either hit or you don't. And psychologically, that transparency is incredibly grounding. Former attendants consistently describe blazing sevens as smooth rather than explosive. Wins arrive often enough to keep momentum alive. Small hits come in regularly, and when the machine decides to release something larger, it feels earned rather than staged. You don't walk away confused. You walk away informed. Some later versions include lightweight enhancements such as occasional multipliers or minor feature triggers. These additions never dominate the experience. They support it. Former technicians note that even without engaging any bonus layer, players frequently recover losses through base game behavior alone. Casinos, however, have been gradually removing blazing sevens from floors. Newer games produce faster revenue. That is not accidental. But former floor supervisors report something interesting: when blazing sevens disappears from a section, players complain. Not loudly, but persistently. It's a quiet dissatisfaction. The kind management notices. Veteran gamblers gravitate toward blazing sevens unconsciously. Former employees say it's a diagnostic machine, experienced players choose it because it behaves predictably. In an industry built on illusion, prediction is power. Technicians often recommend seeking out quarter-denomination blazing sevens and playing maximum coins. Those versions tend to sit on stronger configurations because casinos historically placed better math on higher denominations to encourage larger betting. When those machines remain on floors, they quietly serve as rare opportunities in modern gambling environments. This machine doesn't manipulate emotion. It does not tease. It does not pretend. It spins. It reveals. And in casinos, that is dangerous. Machine number 7, Double Chili Mania. Double Chili Mania almost never stops players in their tracks when they walk past it. It doesn't promise instant riches, it doesn't shout about giant jackpots, and it doesn't display effects designed to overwhelm the senses. Instead, it offers something much more valuable for players working with a limited budget: stability. Former casino staff often describe this game as emotionally controlled, not because it constantly hands out big wins, but because it avoids the long, brutal losing streaks that push players into reckless decisions. According to insiders, this machine usually operates between 92 and 94% RTP, which already places it higher than many modern video slots. But the real value isn't just in the percentage. It's in how this machine behaves spin after spin. Technicians who've serviced Double Chili Mania explain that the game produces a hit on roughly 30 to 35% of all spins. That doesn't mean profit, but it does mean motion. Your balance is constantly shifting instead of collapsing in silence. And psychologically, that makes a massive difference. When players don't face extended droughts with nothing happening, they stay calm. They don't start raising bets to recover losses. They don't tilt. The machine uses frequent small wins to protect players from themselves, and that makes it unusually friendly to anyone trying to extend a small bankroll. The free spin bonus is triggered by landing 3 or more scatter symbols. Maintenance teams estimate it activates about once every 90 to 100 spins. For modern video slots, that's relatively generous. The bonus doesn't rely on complicated sequences or gambling minigames. Instead, selected symbols can randomly transform into wilds, creating layered combinations across reels. Insiders say that even with minimum betting, the free spins often return solid mid-level payouts that stabilize a session and renew momentum rather than just teasing a win and disappearing. Former employees consistently recommend one approach with this machine: keep your wager low but activate every pay line. Double Chili Mania usually offers 30 or more lines, yet still allows play for around 30 to 50 cents per spin. This structure fills the screen with winning paths and keeps results spreading horizontally rather than narrowly focused. In practical terms, that means more activity and fewer dead spins. The result is longer sessions with fewer emotional swings. Another factor staff point out is location. In smaller regional casinos, machines are often tuned more competitively because they depend on repeat customers, not tourists. According to former workers, Double Chili Mania tends to perform better in these environments than in major resort casinos. If you're playing in a local venue, this game quietly becomes even stronger. One subtle but powerful advantage lies in the presentation. The design uses warm colors, simple animation, and friendly sound effects that prevent emotional fatigue. Casinos label machines like this as high time-on-device performers. Players don't stay because they're winning huge. They stay because the game never feels hostile. It doesn't punish you psychologically for losing. And when your budget is limited, mental preservation is just as important as mathematical advantage. Double Chili Mania doesn't pretend to be a miracle solution. It doesn't sell dreams. It sells stability. And in a casino environment, that might be the most dangerous advantage of all. Machine number 8, Mr. Cashman, Jewel of the Enchantress. Mr. Cashman, Jewel of the Enchantress is the kind of slot that gets ignored by people who chase spectacle and instantly attracts those who care about rhythm. It doesn't scream for attention with giant animations or celebrity branding, but it quietly does something more important: it carries weight. Former casino employees describe this machine as balanced, and not in a casual way. They mean mathematically balanced, emotionally balanced, structurally balanced. Insiders say this game usually operates somewhere in the low to mid-90s RTP range, depending on configuration and property. But the reputation of Mr. Cashman has never been built on numbers alone. Its strength comes from its feature spacing. Unlike modern slots that hide everything behind one hard-to-reach event, this game spreads activity across multiple systems. The first of these is the Mr. Cashman random prize feature. It can trigger on any spin, at any time, without warning, and award instant credits. Former technicians emphasize that this mechanic exists specifically to smooth losing sequences. You may be spinning cold, and then suddenly, the screen interrupts and drops value into your balance. No build-up. No anticipation tricks. Just relief. And psychologically, that interruption matters more than players realize. It prevents emotional burnout. Then there's the free spins feature, triggered by scatter symbols. When activated, you enter a bonus stage that amplifies multipliers and allows Mr. Cashman to appear inside the feature itself. Former attendants note that bonus rounds on this machine vary widely. Some pay modestly, some pay surprisingly strong. What makes them different is that they rarely feel insulting. They feel complete. This machine also includes progressives, but former employees strongly advise players to ignore them. Not because they're impossible, but because they distract from where the real value lives. Most money is paid inside normal gameplay, not the jackpot layer. Treating progressives as side events preserves bankroll strategy. One detail casino staff often mention is player loyalty. Mr. Cashman titles build followings, and casinos know it. Machines with loyal audiences are rarely tightened aggressively. It's safer to keep them fair than to lose recurring players altogether. That unspoken logic protects machines like this. Sound design plays a role too. The cheerful voice, light music, and playful animations are not accidental. Technicians explain that audio neutrality keeps players in a stable emotional range. You don't feel punished when you lose. You don't feel tricked when you win. You just play. Bet range matters here. Most versions allow play between 50 cents and $1 per spin, making it accessible to low-budget sessions. A $100 bankroll can stretch beyond 200 spins, giving the player real exposure to features and cycle patterns. Experienced floor staff recommend giving the machine about 50 spins before committing long-term. If random prize features appear early or free spins trigger within that window, the machine often stays active. If nothing happens at all, moving on makes sense. Mr. Cashman survives because it doesn't exploit impatience. It rewards endurance. It doesn't threaten your balance. It invites stability. And in modern casinos, stability is rare. Machine number 9, Mighty Cash. Mighty Cash rarely appears impressive at first glance. Rows of glowing coins, bright colors and familiar animal themes don't exactly signal smart money. To most players, it looks like nothing more than another modern hold-and-spin machine built to drain credits quickly. But for people who have worked behind the scenes inside casinos, Mighty Cash carries a very different reputation. Former technicians often refer to it as one of the few modern games that doesn't actively punish players who sit down with a limited bankroll. According to maintenance staff and slot programmers who have handled aristocrat machines, Mighty Cash usually operates somewhere between 90 and 92% RTP, depending on the casino's configuration and playing denomination. On paper, that does not look exceptional. But former employees consistently explain that Mighty Cash is not about chasing statistical perfection. It is about mechanical behavior, how the game treats players while they are actually playing. The defining feature is the hold-and-spin bonus, and this is where Mighty Cash earns its name. To trigger the feature, 6 or more coin symbols must land anywhere on the screen. When that happens, the reels lock and the machine enters a respin mode. 3 spins are awarded to start. Every time another coin appears, the counter resets to 3. Coins remain fixed in place, each displaying a credit amount or small jackpot tier such as mini or minor prizes. The values themselves are not usually massive. But former employees explain that the feature almost never feels empty. Even minimal triggers often grow into something meaningful before the spins expire. The screen fills little by little, and the balance climbs one step at a time. This makes players feel engaged instead of cheated. Former staff frequently stress that Mighty Cash is not designed as a dream-chasing machine. It does not promise outrageous jackpots every hour. Instead, it creates manageable wins that arrive often enough to protect the session. This emotional stability is rare on modern casino floors where volatility is usually extreme. Betting strategy becomes crucial on this game. Former casino workers repeatedly advise that increasing your bet does not improve your chances of triggering the feature. It simply increases how quickly money disappears. The bonus activates based on symbol frequency, not wager size. Therefore, the safest approach for budget players is to stay near minimum bet and move only when your balance grows organically from bonuses. Another misunderstood aspect is theme selection. Mighty Cash appears in many variants: Panda, Dragon, Phoenix, Tiger, and others. According to insiders, the artwork makes no difference to outcome behavior. The game engine is nearly identical beneath each version. Chasing lucky designs wastes time. Pick whichever look keeps you comfortable. Mighty Cash also remains heavily deployed across casinos that use aristocrat hardware. Floor supervisors say the reason is simple: players return to it. Unlike many modern slots that rely on hype and disappear quickly, this one keeps attracting players consistently. The game does not overwhelm with complexity. It does not tease endlessly. When it pays deliberately. When it is silent, it does not destroy you emotionally. Mighty Cash rewards endurance more than impulse. And for players who want hours instead of minutes, that makes it quietly powerful. Machine number 10, China Shores. China Shores is one of those machines that experienced players notice instantly and casual gamblers walk right past. It doesn't dominate the casino floor with flashy lights or oversized displays, yet it quietly builds a loyal following among people who understand slot behavior. Former casino employees often describe this game as one of the most predictable modern machines, not because outcomes can be controlled, but because its rhythm feels different from most video slots. Insiders report that China Shores commonly runs at around 96% RTP, although the exact figure varies depending on casino settings and denomination. That alone puts it in a rare group. Very few modern games live in that range, particularly in high-traffic venues where casinos rely heavily on volume rather than fairness. But what makes China Shores stand out isn't just the number itself. It's how that return is distributed. The defining feature is the stacked symbol system. Before every spin, the game randomly selects one symbol and stacks it across the reels. That means a single symbol can suddenly dominate the entire screen, creating payline coverage that normal spinning mechanics rarely allow. When low-value symbols stack, results remain modest. But when a high-tier symbol appears, wins can jump instantly into the 50 to 100 times your bet range in the base game alone. The bonus feature activates when 3 or more yin-yang scatter symbols appear. The number of free spins depends on how many land, typically ranging from 8 to 15 spins. During this phase, the stacked mechanic becomes more aggressive. Higher value symbols appear with increased frequency, and the chance of tension-filled screens loaded with premium stacks rises noticeably. Former technicians say that bonus rounds on China shores often return between 40 and 150 times the wager when conditions align. One behavior former employees consistently mention is a pattern of visible hot and cold phases. China shores appears to cycle in a more noticeable way than most machines. While randomness still rules outcomes over time, technicians say the stacking feature often produces bursts of activity followed by calmer stretches. Experienced players sometimes watch a unit for several minutes before playing. If high-value stacks appear repeatedly in the base game, many take that as a sign the machine is worth sitting down on. Another reason this game performs well is emotional balance. The stack system creates excitement even on non-winning spins. Players constantly see movement and density on the reels instead of empty screens. That subtle difference keeps engagement high without forcing aggressive betting behavior. China shores also fits budget play surprisingly well. Many versions allow spins starting around 40 cents to $1 depending on configuration. Former attendants recommend staying near minimum bet unless a bonus delivers strong returns first. The machine doesn't reward chasing losses, but it does reward volume. More spins mean more opportunities for stack-fueled bursts. Casinos with a strong Asian player base feature this game heavily because the theme resonates, but former staff say this also works in favor of general players. Where a machine has cultural popularity, casinos are less likely to tighten configurations aggressively. They need these games to remain fun in order to hold traffic. China Shores is not about chasing jackpots. It's about riding timing, flow, and density. And for players who learn its rhythm, the machine quietly offers something most casinos would prefer you never notice: consistency. Machine number 11, Triple Double Stars. Triple Double Stars is a machine most modern players completely ignore. With only 3 physical reels and basic visual design, it looks outdated compared to giant video slots overflowing with color, animation, and sound. But for casino staff who've worked the floor for years, this kind of machine represents something rare: structural honesty. Former technicians say Triple Double Stars doesn't need spectacle because it wasn't built to entertain the eye. It was built to move credits in a predictable way. According to insiders who've worked with slot configurations and performance reports, Triple Double Stars usually runs within a 94 to 96% RTP range. That places it far above casino averages. And the reason for that elevated percentage is simple. There are no licensed characters to pay. No money siphoned into progressive prize pools. No external storylines draining value from the core game. Every dollar you wager stays inside the system. But what really earns this machine respect is hit rhythm. Floor employees estimate that the game registers some form of payout on nearly 40 to 45% of spins. Of course, not all wins are profitable. Many spins simply return part of your bet. But psychologically, this matters. A machine that constantly reacts keeps players calm. When the screen doesn't go silent for long, players don't feel desperate. The multiplier symbols are where Triple Double Stars shows its second layer. Unlike video slots that hide their power in bonus rounds, this machine distributes force directly through its core mechanics. Double and triple symbols can instantly transform a modest return into something significant. Former staff say this gives the game emotional momentum during base play without forcing players to chase a feature. One detail that surprises most players is that in many configurations, the highest win does not come from lining up stars. Instead, it often involves multiplier pairings. Most players never notice because they never read the pay table. Casino staff say that pay table transparency is one of the machine's biggest advantages. Control is another reason the game performs well for budgets. Most versions allow players to use 1, 2, or 3 pay lines. Former technicians recommend selecting a single line when playing with limited funds. More spins equal more opportunities to intersect payout cycles. Placement also benefits players. Triple-double stars is often installed away from entrances where casual traffic flows. Games in these areas are frequently maintained for reliability rather than excitement. Casinos need their loyal players comfortable, not frustrated. Even maintenance crews prefer these machines. Three-reel engines have fewer failure points. Less downtime. More consistent behavior. And uninterrupted gameplay matters more than players realize. Momentum isn't just financial. It's emotional. One former floor manager described triple-double stars as a survivor slot. Machines exist for decades because they don't burn players badly enough to be removed. They quietly outlive hundreds of flashy installations. Triple-double stars does not promise dreams. It promises function. And for players who understand time value, function matters more than fantasy. Casinos don't win by accident. They win by design. But once you understand that design, the illusion breaks. Every light. Every sound. Every bonus. Every jackpot banner. None of it exists to help you win, it exists to keep you playing. Now you know what most players never learn. If this video changed how you see casinos, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes it's all luck. Because in a casino, luck comes and goes. Knowledge stays.